Well, hello, everybody. As you know, we had a pretty strong storm last night, and me and little buddy are out here checking things out this morning. I had a few tomato plants. Sorry, my allergies. I had a few tomato plants and sunflowers that kind of laid over a little bit last night. But I got out here this morning and I kind of got them right side up and kind of packed the dirt down around them to kind of make them stand up straight again. So they're fine. I had a few pots turned over, the small ones here on the patio, especially the peppermint right there. It's top heavy. The wind caught it and blew it out in the yard, but it's fine for the most part. Didn't tear it up. And you can see do have my sunflowers up right side up, and the one out there at my wishing well, it was blowing it around quite a bit. But it's fine this morning. It's straight as it can be out there, so not worried about that. And everything else seems to be fine. My bird baths, I've got those weighted down to where they're not going anywhere. Isn't that right, little buddy? Huh? Yeah. And you can see everything else is fine. Looks like I got to clean out my hummingbird feeder. I got a bug somehow climbed in there. I got to put some nectar in that one because it's empty. Little buddy, what do you think? What do you think, huh? He had his breakfast this morning. He got his salmon water and his food, and he was tickled to death to get that. He liked it, so. As you can see, my tomato plants right there have just like tripled in size almost overnight. The yard is looking good. I'm going to have to mow, I know. My cabbage is looking good. I'm surprised it didn't blow my butterfly away. This is one of my do-it-yourself butterflies with one of those night light things or yard lights that are solar that's in the top of it. I got that idea off the internet, some craft shows that did some like that. And all I had on hand was black and white hangers. But it would have looked better if I had all one color. But hey, you know, butterflies are more than just one color. A lot of them are several colors. And there goes my bird bath with my flowers. They're all looking good. And like I said, my moonflowers and those wildflowers took over the marigolds. So I may have to put some transplant marigolds in there. All of my wildflowers. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's why I didn't want to mow them down. They're just so pretty when they're blooming. And I had them all over the yard like that. I just wished I had not mowed. Next time, I'm not mowing till they bloom. Because once they bloom, they'll drop those seeds. And they'll triple in size the next year when they come up. And as you can see, the wind did blow this one over. I don't know. Little buddy, I'm gonna step on you. Not sure how to get that back up. But my little rose bush loves that all that rain. It just soaked it down good. My okra. Everything looks like it's tripled in size, like almost overnight. See what that rainwater does? Look at that. It's all looking fantastic this morning. And look at those rose bushes there. I just don't know what the difference is in the dirt on this side compared to the other side. Because look how big they are. And they were all planted. And these rose bushes over here, look how tiny. I mean, they're living, they're blooming, but they have no way the amount of growth on them that the ones on this other side do. I mean, you would never think that we planted them at the same time and they were the same, about basically the same size. Look at you, see the marigolds there are living, my vine is living, my clematis, it's blooming. I don't remember what color this one over here is. But we got a healthy clematis vine come up on that other side of the barrel. It should climb right on up this trellis with no problem. Look how my my cabbage is just perked up. Look at that. Everything just got like a new lease on life with this rain. I just broke that yellow leaf off back there and put it in the pot. But look at that. Like overnight, it just, everything just perked up. Yeah, I was afraid when I looked outside on the patio last night, some of those flower pots turned over and blowed across the yard. And I'm surprised that peppermint, I guess it had so many roots in the pot that when the wind blew it out in the yard and knocked it over, it did, the dirt didn't come out or anything because there was so many roots in that pot that it kept it intact and kept it in the pot. And look at there. Look at that cantaloupe. It's starting to vine out 3 different directions. And I thought about putting it up on a trellis, but I think I'm just going to let it run across the ground. Let it go where it wants to, because it seems like they do so much better when they do that. Cantaloupe in the middle down there, my cabbages, look at that. My watermelon. Look how much growth that got on it overnight. I mean, that's unreal. All the flowers back there are blooming behind the totes. All of this stuff looks like it grew several inches like overnight. Yeah, little buddy's walking with me. Look at there. He loves walking around the garden with me. And look at that tomato. I didn't put a tomato plant there. I put a hot pepper plant. And I've got a marigold, the pepper plant, and a tomato plant coming up. Look at there, my romaine lettuce. I need some wood chips down in there when it gets a little bit bigger, so when it rains it doesn't splatter the dirt up on the leaves. And look at those cucumbers. Look at that. I mean, look how much they've grown just like overnight, even in that rain. I mean, that rain was like giving them life. There's nothing better on your plants than a good soaking of rain. And that sunflower is getting ready to open right there. And I come out here early when I first got up, and I had to empty all of these yellow buckets. They were full, some of them running over. So I had to add a 5-gallon bucket there, and I put a 5-gallon bucket over there, and I've got to buy a lid because I ran out of lids for the buckets, so I put that plastic on it so the mosquitoes wouldn't get in there. But I saved all of that compost tea and rainwater that filled those buckets up, and I put them in the 5-gallon buckets. So when I need to water the next time, I'll have at least 2 5-gallon buckets out on this side of the garden. I mean, look at that. That's just, it's unreal what a good soaking rain will do. And the watermelon, cantaloupe, squash. I mean, it looks great this morning. And we got a slight chance of more rain today. I don't know if we'll get it. The potatoes. You know, we just left the potatoes because they were coming up in the compost anyway. I really didn't planned on planting potatoes here. And I may put me a tomato plant or something down in here with them. And look at those pepper plants. Aren't they pretty? I mean, that's unreal today, this morning. How good they look and how much growth they've got on them. Just, like I said, overnight. Look at that. And look at there. It's finally decided that I'm going to grow a little bit. That's my bell peppers in there. Squash. My cucumbers. And I was going to try to get them to go up these cages. I don't know if they're going to do it. You know, they kind of have a mind of their own. So we'll see. They probably just want to sprawl out over the yard. But I'm going to try to train them partly to go up. To go up the cage and the post right there. Instead of out on the ground. But, you know, sometimes it's a losing battle. And my okra plants finally started to grow. Right there. Cucumber. Ooh, I just washed my hair and, well, I got in the shower and took a shower, shampooed. Because I got hot and sweaty walking around the yard doing stuff earlier. My bucket garden here looks good. Everything looks good over here. And look at the tomato plants. I mean, that good soaking rain gave them a growth spurt. Tomato back there starting to grow. This one's definitely growing. And I don't know, the pepper plant, I put seed in the ground. But that might have been too much rain for it. So we'll wait and see. And I do believe I've got a flower bud on my tomato plant. That's the delicious tomato. That's the big tomato. And I was moving pepper plants around earlier, and there's one that I missed. I left it laying there. See if I can stick it down in there. It might still survive if it gets down in the dirt and gets some water. It may not, but because it's been laying out there, kind of wilted down. But there's my basil. And I broke some of the leaves and stuff off of it to kind of give it a chance to grow because it looked like it was struggling. So I broke a bunch of leaves off of it and stuff, and I did cook them to give it a chance to really set root down there to grow. And I figured it would do a lot better. But all my little plants down here are doing great. All the plants out here are doing great. I didn't want to make a long video. I just wanted to give you basically a garden update after that big storm we had last night. But you can see everything got a growth spurt on it just from that rain. So for the most part, things are looking good. And I just don't think, like I said, that this side is getting enough sun. I mean, the early dew melons and stuff, they might do okay. The pumpkin down here, the wind kind of got it all twisted up. But that's okay, it's still growing. I might end up putting a tomato plant down in that pot. It don't look like that early dew melon's going to make it, but I mean, it might, but it's kind of iffy. And see, I don't think this stuff gets enough sunlight over here. And it did hail a little bit. The hail was small, and it kind of beat down this peppermint for some reason. It's kind of laying over. It'll come back up though. And see that mandevilla. And you know, I thought you had to move that inside over the winter, because I always thought it was like an annual unless it was inside. But so I didn't think that would come back this year, but it came back this summer. So when that thing grows all up this side of the arbor and it puts out flowers, it's going to be beautiful with my clematis on the other side. Because I got the purple clematis up there, I've got the lavender there, and then I'll have this bright pink mandevilla vine when it grows on up here and starts blooming. It's going to be really pretty. I need to get me some more of those mandevillas. I think they're really neat. And later I might be able to get another vine just out of the root of that one. I don't know. You can see all my flowers survived, and look how thick and plush they got. Lush. I mean, that's unreal what one night of rain will do. Oh, here, little buddy's right with me. Yeah, he's taking a garden tour with us. He likes to walk around the yard. Didn't hurt those. Of course, they're under the the porch here. But the wind could have messed them up, and it didn't. Isn't that right, little buddy? Huh? Yeah. All of my stuff out here looks... All my rose bushes here that we planted are looking good, right along with everything else. And all those flower bulbs, the rest of them should start coming up now out here in the big rock garden. And we've got a lot of stuff already come up, but there's a lot more flower bulbs planted out there that have not come up yet. And look at the growth on that crepe myrtle right there. Isn't that awesome? A little rose bush that we planted out here. Well, let's go back around this way. Like I said, I didn't intend to make this. Look at there. He's cooling his belly off. He tickles me when he does that. Oh, people, if you have no allergies, you don't know how lucky you are. I wished I'd have had that swing out in that pouring down rain. It would have washed all that dust off of it. I didn't even think about moving it out because, like I said, every time they've predicted that strong wind and rain, we didn't get any. So I didn't go to the trouble to try to move it out in the rain, so it didn't get cleaned off. Did it, little buddy? Even when they call and warn me that there's a severe thunderstorm, like I said, the 2 times before that they called and indicated we were in for a bad storm, we didn't get anything. It kind of blew around us. This time it hit, which I'm glad because, like I said, we needed the rain desperately. Didn't we, little buddy? Huh? He says, I don't really care. He says, I'm just taking it easy. He's something else. He says, I'm just going to lay here and cool my belly off. Yes, I am. I'm just going to lay there and cool my belly off. Oh, he's going to follow me. He thinks I'm going to get up and walk around. He's going to follow. Yeah, he's walking with me. I'm not going up there. Even this stuff, got some rainwater, even though it's on the porch under this porch top. And like I said, the ground got a good soaking, but it ain't going to stay wet for long unless we get more rain. But all of this stuff is looking good. Look at those little tiny tomato plants that were there. They look like they've doubled or tripled their size since the rain. And all the stuff in the cinder blocks that we planted. The wind didn't get that this time. It turned my tree collards over the last time the storm hit, because I had them over there where the carrots are. And these tree collards were top heavy. But having them in here, sorry, surrounded by these other buckets in this section right here, it kept them from turning over. And see, that cabbage right there is coming back. It's putting out leaves. I knew it would. Something got to it, but it didn't get the plant. It just got some leaves. And that's a good looking tomato plant right here. Look how big it's gotten. I mean, like overnight, it just spurted right up. Didn't it, little buddy? Huh? It just spurted right up. He likes walking across the cinder blocks for some reason. I hope he knows he's not going to be able to do that when those plants get bigger. Those plants will block him from walking on them. Unless he can walk around the plants on the block. And see, I just don't know. Those the bok choy either get too much water or they don't get enough. But they're in a well-draining pan. So all this moisture that we got, it should drain right out. But those are the ones that I thinned out and put some in the buckets over here and there to see if they do better. And there's my Roma tomato. Look how big that got. It just spurted up overnight. The carrots look fantastic. If they produce carrots as good as the tops look, should have carrots. This is the first time really I've ever planted carrots. The lettuce still looks good. My walking onions are walking. And their babies are bursting out. Look at that. See that? And I got tomato seed coming up there. Plants over here just haven't looked as good yet for some reason. And that poor watermelon is struggling with that marigold there. That marigold is just kind of choking it out. And I didn't intend for that marigold to be there, but I hate to pull it up. But I may have to if I want my watermelon to survive. My eggplant. It's like something got one of my plants, but I've still got 4 or 5 plants left. My asparagus. And my tomatoes. Those tomato plants right there are looking really good. And my blueberry plant back there. I'm anxious to see if it has blueberries on it this year. I need to put some Epsom salts and compost tea to it to get it to grow and maybe produce. Tomato plant. And remember, guys, this is all that I started from seeds. And looks like I got some seeds coming up down in there. And we may get more rain today. There is about a 32% chance of rain. My brandywine's back there. I got 2 delicious tomatoes over there. My peppers. I don't know, something's been getting my pepper plants. Don't know what. And see that stem? Something ate the leaves off of it, but the plant is still alive. So I'm going to leave it there and hope that it comes back out. And I'm hoping this one is big enough that nothing will bother it. Because after they get a certain size, the worms don't want to bother them. It's just when they're little tiny that they want to eat them or cut them in half. And I was wondering about these little plants. I figured they were so little with that strong rain, it would just beat them down and drown them, but they look okay so far. Now that one don't look too good, but it's still alive, so it may come back out. That one don't look too good, but I'm going to leave it. That one looks okay. My tomato plant looks okay. All the bok choy and kohlrabi looks okay here. And my 2 squash plants back here look okay. And look, I told you after I bought that basil plant that I'd probably have a lot more come up when I replanted those seeds. And look at that. There's at least 10 or more plants that have come up from seed right there. If they survive now, we'll see. My potatoes here. That tomato plant grew overnight almost. Look at there, I got more beans. I can't resist the urge to grab one and bite it. I wish I'd have planted a lot more peas and stuff. I really don't have enough. And look at there. Little squash decided it'd come out. 2 of them. And I know a lot of people will break the flowers off of their little plants because they don't want the plant to start producing yet. I leave mine. I mean, it's nature. That's the way they want to grow. And that's the way I'm going to leave them. My poor lanky sunflowers survived the wind. They're leaning over a little bit, but I can come out here and tie them up to the trellis and get them straight again. Look at little buddy hanging out in the garden. He says, you walk around, I'm going to just lay here and take a rest. He's a sweetheart. We've got about 30% chance of rain for the next several days. And it looks like rain right now, but we don't really need any more right this minute. Wait till tomorrow or the next day and give us another little shower would be helpful, instead of getting so hot on everything. Now this little squash plant, it's struggling, but look at that. It's trying its best to produce. It's trying its best to produce squash. And it's dirty because the dirt, got all up on it. So I don't know. It's been struggling from day one. So I have got a little tomato plant in there with it. But it's got 3 or 4 flowers coming out on it, so I don't know. I'm just going to leave it. It kind of beat the beets down a little bit. Not bad, but they'll come back out. And look at the growth spurt on my raspberry. I mean, that's unreal. That thing looked like it grew 6 inches overnight. Whew. Yeah, everything is looking okay, I guess. Considering. And look at my tomatillos. I may just leave them right there and let them grow up this trellis with the tomato plants and the peas, since it's growing here and it seems to like that spot. And there's a little bit too much water in that. I'm afraid it might drown the onions or make them rot. So I'm going to empty it out. Let them dry out a little bit. And this is the same way. Empty that little pan. Oh, if I can. Because it rains so much, it's just got too much water in some things. So they'll be all right now. The dirt's plenty wet. But my leeks over there are looking good too. And I don't have nothing in the greenhouse because it's, it's too hot really right now to have anything in these greenhouses. So I'll get my plastic, and what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to buy the new plastic, because you see the sides are all split. And I've taped them up and they've re-split again. So what I'm going to do is get some of that heavier gauge plastic greenhouse plastic, and I'll take all this stuff off of the frame and I'll recover it with the new greenhouse plastic for next year or for the winter time. So if I have anything that I want to overwinter in there, that I can. So we'll see. And see, that little thing down there is just overflowing with water and it's still dripping out. Like I said, I try to catch all the compost tea I can to re-water stuff. So and I know my moonflowers love that rain. Oh my God. I got out here and tried to water them. But that good soaking rain did them more good than anything. They look so much better just overnight. And I'm going to have to come out here and clean out my bird feeders because I know that blowing rain we got, whatever seeds in there is wet. And if I don't clean it out, they're going to sprout and mold. So that's got to be done. But I'm going to wait and see if it rains anymore today before I do it. Or I may go ahead and do it, I don't know. But my little rose bushes along the property line should have loved that rain last night too. Probably need to turn that around. Yeah, I turned it around a little bit to keep it as straight as I can keep it. Because it's strong. It's got good roots down in that pot, so. Can't wait to see that big old sunflower that's going to be at the top. And you can see how the wind blew those sunflowers over. And I've tried to upright them the best I could. But you can see they're still leaning over. Because that was the direction that the wind was blowing. And I probably need to get a stake, some kind of a stick or stake, and put there to it to help hold it up if I can find one. I think I got one back here. Yeah, I got it. About this one, it might work. Put it down beside it. And I'll get something to tie on to it. I don't know if I've got anything. Wait a minute, I got something right here. Got some string here. Oh, that's too long. My hair is going all over the place. See if I can untie part of this string. Yeah, I can go clean those bird feeders out and put them a little bit of seed in there. I'm not going to fill it up. Because if we get rain the next couple of days, the bird seed will just get wet again. And if you leave bird seed in a feeder with it being wet, it'll mold, it'll start to sprout, and the birds won't come near it. Now let me get this over there and see if I can tie it up. It'll help till we get the next big hard blowing rain, probably. There. We'll have to get some to stake these other when they get a little bigger. And look at the growth spurt on that little tomato plant right there, that volunteer tomato plant. And I've got a stake here that I'm going to tie it to. I'm not sure if it's like the one that it was in there last year. It'll grow pretty tall. So that's one reason I put that one stake, tomato stake here. And if I have to, I can move. Well, I may do that anyway. It's not going to be as symmetrical, but I can move these to this side. And put these over here to where I can help support it. I can help support it with the tomato cage right there beside it. So I can put a piece of wire or something from here over to here. From this tomato stake over to this tomato cage, and help support it if that tomato plant gets that tall. And like I said, if it was like the one that was in it last year, it's going to get pretty tall. Move that around so that solar light is in the sun. But the plants on this side of the house, they do not get morning sun, but they get the afternoon sun. They get all that mid or afternoon sun to dark. They're in the sun. So they get just as much sun as the ones in the back garden. Only the back garden gets morning sun, afternoon shade. These get morning shade and afternoon sun. So it works out. Ain't that right, little buddy? He says, ain't that right? Ain't that right, little buddy, huh? You gonna get up there and sit down? It's kind of muggy out here. Yes, it is. It's kind of muggy. Yeah, it's kind of muggy out here. Yeah, I got to go get some nectar and put them in those hummingbird feeders. And put just a little bit of bird seed in my bird feeders out there. Get that wet seed out because it gets caked hard when it gets wet. And then it, like I said, it molds and it sprouts. And the birds won't come near it then. Ain't that right, little buddy? Huh? Ain't that right? He says, well, I don't know. He says, I don't know. Yeah. He's a sweetheart. He loves going walking around the garden with me. He stays right there with me. He's a sweet kitty. Yes, he's a sweet kitty. He is a sweet kitty. Now he's going to rub around my feet. You going to rub around my feet? Huh? He wonders what's going on. I'm not walking anymore. He says I'm not walking anymore. Well, I said I wasn't going to make this a long video, so thanks for hanging out with me and little buddy, doing our garden walk around. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed day. It is my birthday, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Don't know if I'm going to go out to eat or what I'm going to do. I'll think of something. But anyway, y'all have a blessed day. Like, share, and subscribe to my videos. I will see you on my next one. Bye now.